Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. My name is Michael Higginbotham. I'm a law faculty member at the University of Baltimore and a co-founder of the Fannie Angelos program, along with my colleague, Michael Meyerson, who is a co-founder and the director of the program. I'd like to welcome all of you to the 7th annual Fannie Angelos program, Gala. We are virtual tonight, and that means that things are a lot easier for you. No dressing up, no venturing out in the cold, no searching for parking. Yet I'm shocked because some of you are still late in the house. I don't understand. Mike?
Well, in addition to not having to park, you also don't get our food and our alcohol. So you're going to have to take care of that at home. Also, this is going to be shorter, but in many ways, fundamentally different from earlier galas because we are responding to an extraordinary year.
We have a spectacular program for you tonight. You will learn just how special the Fannie Angelos program is. We will learn three things, actually four things we're going to do tonight. First, you're going to hear about what we do and how well we do it. Second, you're going to meet some very impressive scholars who are going to explain just how special this program is and what it has meant to them. Third, you're going to hear why Black lawyers matter. And fourth and finally, you're going to hear from some really special superstars who will tell you why you should support the Fannie Angelos program.
Throughout this program, you will have the opportunity to use the chat button at the bottom of our screen here and hit our link for donation. If something moves you, if something touches you, please take advantage and please use the donation button. To start our official welcome, we've asked some very, very good friends of the program to help us out.
Hello, I'm Ron Weich. I'm the Dean of the University of Baltimore School of Law. And I'm so pleased to join others in welcoming you to this annual celebration of the Fannie Angelos Program for Academic Excellence. This is an event which we usually hold in the Belvedere Hotel, a place with great views of the city of Baltimore, and we have excellent food and music and dancing. Well, that's not tonight. Tonight you're sitting at home, maybe with some cold pizza. But our support and appreciation for this program is not the least bit diminished by the circumstances that the pandemic has led us to. You're here because you continue to care about the students who come through and succeed in the Fannie Angelos program. It is a unique partnership between our law school and the 4 historically Black colleges and universities. It helps us identify and mentor the very promising, wonderful students who are at those schools and want to come to law school and want to become lawyers to serve their community. Through this program, we help to diversify the legal profession. And as a result, the program has been honored by the American Bar Association with the prestigious Diversity Leadership Award. I want to thank Professors Michael Meyerson and Michael Higginbotham, the 2 Mikes, we call them, who have done so much to grow this program, to make it into the success that it is. And I want to thank all of our colleagues on the UB faculty who work with these students and contribute to their success. I want to thank all of you because I know you have supported this program financially and you're here tonight, and I want you to continue to support the program. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for celebrating our amazing Angelos scholars. Thank you for joining me in expressing pride and appreciation for them. Enjoy the program, and thank you for being here.
Hello, I'm Kurt Schmoke, President of the University of Baltimore, and I'd like to welcome you to the Fannie Angelos Program Gala. Thank you all very much. You know, throughout this year, there's been a lot of discussion about the issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's almost as though those issues have become in vogue in some of the aspects of community life that is in the business community and others. Many people have been discussing those issues during this turbulent year. Well, before this year, Professors Higginbotham and Meyerson recognized that there was a great need to do more to improve diversity, equity, and inclusion in the legal profession. We are, after all, a nation of laws, so it is vitally important that we have the legal profession reflecting the great diversity of our country. I want to thank you all very much for your past support and your continuing support, because what we're doing, we are nurturing a new generation of leaders in the legal profession who are also going to be very involved in civic engagement activities throughout our state, throughout the country, and throughout the world. You have become partners with us in this endeavor, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your support of the Fannie Angelos program.
Hi, I'm Senator Ben Cardin. Thank you to everyone gathered virtually today for the 7th annual Fannie Angelos program for Academic Excellence Gala. A special thank you to Dean Michael Higginbotham and Professor Michael Meyerson for envisioning this program and all they do every day, year after year, to make the legal profession in Maryland and around the country more diverse. This year's theme is a call to action, is what these two mics do all the time, and they need our help every day to make it happen and change lives. They have long understood the value of diversity, particularly in the legal field, and how it can change lives for the better. The unique partnership between the University of Baltimore Law School and Bowie State, Coppin State, Morgan State, and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore has been a tremendous success, with over 100 students graduating from law school. As Dean Higginbotham and Professor Meyerson wrote recently, how we need those who understand both the moral imperative and the economic benefits of diversity, those who believe that the American promise of equality has been unfilled since that promise was crafted in our Declaration of Independence, and those who realize that this moment in history demands that real change must occur without further delay, to commit to ensuring that diversity becomes a reality through the entire American legal system. Best wishes to the latest Fannie Angelos scholars. We need all of you to make our legal system and our nation more just and fair for our citizens and our communities. You will be the difference we need in the courtroom and everywhere you put your degree to work. You will change lives for the better.
Wow, I can't get rid of that dean title. Once a dean, always a dean. I'm very thankful not to be the dean anymore. Ron Weiss is our current dean. He took over for me in 2012. And I think we're the two happiest people around. He's happy to be the dean. I'm happy to be back on the faculty.
And with Mike back on the faculty, despite Mike being back on the faculty, this has been an exceptionally strange year, but the program has had an exceptionally successful year. Let me just explain a little about what's been going on. First, some of you may not know all the things we do. We started by focusing on undergraduates. Our Scholars Program picks 8 elite students, the top students we can find at the 4 historically Black colleges, and we work with them. And if they can get a 152 on the LSAT, keep a 3.5 GPA, they can get a free ride to the University of Baltimore School of Law, and we're lucky and delighted to have them. But that's not all. We also take about a dozen other students from HBCUs, and we work with them. We give them the best LSAT preparation we possibly can. We work with them, we support them, and we try to get them as much scholarship money as we can. Once both groups are in law school, we shift gears. It becomes academic support, family support, social support to help them fly, help them reach their potential. And then when they get out, well, you never get out. It's like the mob. You're in this program for life. And as they go from historically Black colleges to predominantly white law school to overwhelmingly white legal profession, as they go through, they find support from the program, from the other members of the program, and they pay it forward. They look behind them and help the next generation of students. It seems to work what we do. you can see how their scores jump, almost doubling percentile improvement from the beginning to the end. We are particularly excited that last year's summer bar pass rate for the Angelos program was higher than the law school, higher than the state of Maryland. We don't have the numbers yet this year because COVID delayed everything, but I'm awfully optimistic.
As Professor Morrison said, we definitely know how to do it. We've been doing it for 2 decades. You don't need to believe me. The Association of American Law Schools said we know how to do it. They featured us last year at their annual convention.
And the conference on Black Lawyers Matter turned to us. We were the ones to help explain how to increase Black enrollment at law schools. NPR's podcast, In Black America, featured the program because we are trying to do something, not just for the state of Maryland, but for the nation.
There are just so many people to thank. It's hard to know where to begin. But we are certainly grateful to the Angelos family. Peter for the generous initial seed money, Fannie for the use of her name, and for her story of overcoming obstacles, Francis and John, her children, for their continuing support, both financially and emotionally. We are also very, very grateful for the HBCU advisors. I can't tell you how difficult it is to work with professors across campus, let alone at different institutions. And our HBCU advisors have just been real and true partners. They've worked with us closely on everything that we do. And we're just so grateful. And I want to remind everybody that this is a unique program. It's the only majority law school in the country that partners with HBCUs. We're also very grateful to the UB community, staff, administration, deans, for the many ways that they have assisted the program and assisted our students with technical assistance, clerical assistance, financial assistance, and spiritual support. They have been a well-oiled machine. And we are also so grateful to our colleagues, to the law faculty, for their willingness to advise our students, to mentor them, and to teach our participants.
And there's one particular member of the faculty. He's actually emeritus, and that's Byron Warnkin. It is apparently part of the entire structure of this city that when you do an event, you acknowledge Mr. UB, Byron Warnkin. We always think of you, sir. Special thanks to the judiciary, which has always backed the program. Judge Bell, Judge Brown, Judge Ballou Watts, you've always supported us, you've guided us, you've inspired us and our students. We thank you. Definitely not least, sometimes last, but never least, is the extraordinary Ms. Lenore Giles, the administrator of the program, heart, soul, brain of the program. Every student knows how important she is. And Ms. Giles, we never, ever want to forget how wonderful you are. One other person to thank, and that would be Professor Jamie Lee. She has gotten so involved in not just helping the student intellectually, but helping them become full people, able to deal with all of that which life throws their way. Professor Lee?
Okay, well, thank you. And pop quiz for everybody. So of all the people you've just heard about, who does the hardest and best work of the Fannie Angelos program? That would be the students. Our students work day and night, and they work intellectually and they work emotionally. And they work to learn, and they work for their families, and they work for each other. And they are brilliant. Their work starts with the courage to imagine how their name might look with Esquire after it. And their work continues with their commitment to push through all of the hard stuff. And there's a lot of hard stuff in order to reach their potential. And today that potential is everywhere, at law firms, big, small, and solo, in government, at clerkships, in house, at public interest organizations. The Fannie Angelos students are the North Stars that lead us all forward into a better future. So it is my great honor to introduce the class of 2020.
We all started law school on our first day, scared out of our minds. We did not know what to expect except the things that Professor Meyerson had scared us with. And I know that I can say a lot of us didn't really feel capable. A lot of us didn't really know if we would be able to keep up in the environment. But we were encouraged every single step of the way through this scholarship program. And most importantly, we had each other. When I think about what it took to get here, I'm so proud of each and every one of us. When I think about all that we have done in law school, Reggie, you got a 4.0, the highest in the class, our first semester in law school, 1L year, which is the hardest. We're so proud of you. Me winning Best Oral Advocate in first place in the moot court competition, Kyra being on moot court, Marcus being on trial team, Cortland, you were the most dedicated clinic student I have ever seen in my life. Magdalene, we never saw you without your daughter. You are Mother of the Year, so happy belated Mother's Day to you. We never saw you in that law school without your daughter. Kayla, you worked multiple jobs in administration. Kadeen, we never saw you without multiple jobs. You worked a full-time job, you study at night. I started our third year of law school on crutches. So for all of us, this is a victory.
I don't know where I would be today without the Fannie Angelos program. I remember I was walking in Wilson Hall and I randomly saw a flyer that said, you know, do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to go to law school? Apply for this program. And I back in about 2 weeks and told me I got in, and you all have been literally supporting me and holding me this whole time. There are times when Ms. Giles would ask me, how are you doing today? And I would literally just tell her I'm here. And I kind of equate that to lose weight. It's, the hardest part about your weight loss journey is getting to the gym. You know, as long as the hardest part is getting dressed and getting to the gym. Once you get there, you're there, you're going to work out. So I equate, she would always ask me, like, what do you mean about you're here? It was very hard for me to come, Ms. Giles. It was hard, but I came. I didn't miss a class.
Even when I felt like there weren't any words that could motivate me to keep going. You found those words, and you shared them with me. It's been the same without you all. It makes it so much more special because we did it together, and I don't do it too often when we start and finish together, and we encourage each other throughout the entire time. So thank you to everyone. Thank you.
The scholarship program has been phenomenal. It's more scholarship, it's a mentorship, the bond. I would first like to thank everybody in the Fannie Angelos program. Ms. Giles, you're the best there ever was and ever will be. Meyerson, you forced me to do things out of my comfort zone many times, and I hated you for it, but in the end, it got the job done. Higginbotham, I loved your classes, I love your personality, and you're always a great role model for me.
Professor Meyerson, you have been an invaluable asset in my life. You have spoken life into me at times that I could not do it myself. Ms. Giles, thank you very much for being a listening ear, a confidant, support. You are the mother of our program, and we love you, and we will always appreciate you. I met you in 2014. I will never forget that you called me and told me, are you going to send in your application? And I got it to you within a few days. And here we are now, 6 years later. And this is just the beginning. We are lifelong family.
Wow.
we have come a long way. We were so green, like our first little test law school classes that we sat through in boot camp, we just had no idea what was going on. We're in the hotel room trying to bounce ideas off each other and make sure that we were, understanding the information. And I think we've just kept up that support for one another throughout the whole time. And I love that the program really facilitates those strong bonds between us, because it's needed. Nobody achieves success alone.
Thinking about basic training, because I'm Air Force Reserve. And when I entered into basic training, someone told me to survive basic training, stay under the radar, just go unnoticed, just do what you need to do and then get out. And I kind of treated law school like that. I was just do what you need to do and then get out, just survive. So I think I was on survival mode the whole 3.5 years. But then you meet so many other people and you end up doing things, and then you're I can't just be under the radar, because there's so many things that I want to do. And I had so much experiences in law school that I'm forever grateful for. Studying abroad, being the president of Parents in Law School, and also other organizations. And I ended up being more active than I planned on being, which I don't regret. And I'm grateful for Fannie Angelos, because the prep program is why I passed the LSAT. I don't think I could have done it on my own.
So those students and the others in the program, those are the ones who finished law school last year. But all the students, especially those perhaps, but all the students, they inspire me. They care, they are committed, they work hard, and they work together. They're committed to themselves, their families, and their communities. They will make the world a better place. And that motivates us. But you know what? This year, this extraordinary year, provided even more motivation, even more understanding. And that's why this year, for the first time, we have a special theme we want to share with you. What we want to talk about tonight is how the world has focused our attention on the need for diversity in legal professions. This year has been in education. But we all know 2020 did not begin in 2020.
20 Africans arrived at Port Comfort and were immediately sold to the Virginia colony. These 20 human beings were part of the international slave trade, where millions were kidnapped, physically brutalized, and forced to labor. These evils of slavery, beatings, torture, separation of families, continued unabated until the Civil War.
And of course, racism and its evil did not stop with the Emancipation Proclamation. On and on through American history, racism, racist governmental actions has caused unspeakable pain. We talk today about voter suppression. It's not anything new. The number that speaks to me the most came right after Plessy versus Ferguson, the horrendous Supreme Court case, which ruled that separate but equal was constitutional. In 1896, right before that decision, 130,000 blacks were registered to vote in Louisiana. Just 4 years later, after the license to discriminate had been issued, Louisiana cut that, so merely 5,000 blacks were able to vote. An entire population disenfranchised, an entire population deprived of their ability to protect themselves politically.
Professor Meyerson knows, and all of you know, it was not only in the voting area, it was everywhere. Wheel about, turn about, do just so. Every time I wheel about, I jump Jim Crow. Jim Crow laws mandated inequality from birth to death. Every aspect of life, including schools, housing, employment, they all had rigid color bars. And it was often said that Sunday morning in America was the most segregated hour of all. Even our churches were Jim Crow.
And the government enforced that discrimination through subtle and blatant means. Perhaps none has had a longer effect than the housing regulation of the government. During the Great Depression, loans were given to save neighborhoods and save homeowners, but special exceptions were made. Don't loan monies where you see foreign-born Negro and lower-grade population. Every American city had a map that looked like this, carved out in red for the districts where banks were not supposed to loan money. That's where the blacks were living. It's called redlining, and this is the nature of how it was implemented.
Brown versus Board of Education was stopped. Government required school segregation. But as everybody knows, vast resistance allowed racial inequities to continue. In schools, in Prince Edward County, Virginia, they were closed for 5 years. Black people couldn't even go to school for 5 years. Housing, employment, the disparities were almost to the same degree as they were during Jim Crow. Inequities backed by all forms of government, including police dogs, posters, and riot gear, enforced these inequities.
2020 exposed again the truth about America and race.
George Floyd, all heard that name, star high school and college football and basketball player, loved father and brother and son. But a police officer's knee on George Floyd's neck, 8.5 minutes, took his life prematurely, as 3 other officers watched the motion, and as onlookers begged, pleaded for mercy. Jacob Blake, shot 8 times in the back by a police officer responding to a domestic disturbance. Blake was simply walking away to open up his car door and assist his children when he was shot. Blake survived, but may never, ever walk again. Rayshard Brooks, what seemed like a routine driving under the influence stop at a Wendy's turned deadly. Brooks wrestled with the police officer. Brooks took his taser and ran away, but the officer shot twice. Shot Brooks in the back, fatally killed. Ahmaud Arbery, just like many of us do, he decided to jog on a Sunday afternoon. He was followed in a truck by 2 neighbors who thought he looked suspicious, and they shot him after aggressively approaching the car. It took 70 days for any arrests. Breonna Taylor, emergency room technician, who loved sister and daughter. Police, without warning, burst into her apartment at 12:40 a.m. in the morning. When her boyfriend fired a shot in defense, thinking police were unwanted intruders there to hurt them, 3 officers fired more than 20 rounds, hitting Taylor 5 times. No charges ever brought. Case as a Black women especially get the brunt of racism in the criminal justice system. 48 women killed, 2 individuals charged, all 48 of those cases.
But it's not just policing where we see the effects of modern racism. COVID is a virus. It doesn't know to hate, yet somehow it's the Black community that is suffering the worst, with the greatest number of deaths of any community. Why? Because this is what structural racism causes. Everything from housing, from poverty, to lack of access to medical care, and many other reasons have led to the fact that there is a higher COVID death rate among the Black population. That housing discrimination we saw earlier, it doesn't go away. 3 out of 4 neighborhoods that were redlined back then are still economically struggling today. Just one of the reasons why only 41% of Black Americans own homes, while 71% of white Americans own homes. And you know what? Not just the past. It looks like there are millions and millions, day after day, incidents of racial discrimination in housing still going on. Our public schools, funded with property taxes, also reflect that discrimination. If you look, the white districts have more money to spend simply because the property is more valuable, another legacy of the past. You know what? Inside the schools, you still see racial discrimination. I'll give you just one number, one slide that represents so much. State of California, look at suspension rates. The suspension rates of Black children, 4 times as high as that for white. These kids get thrown out of school. Same behavior, same age group. It's one group so much more than others. Not surprisingly, perhaps, white families have much more wealth than Black families. Average white family has 10 times as much value economically, saved up equity than Black families. Not just the middle, the very top. The rich white families have 4 or 5 times as much money as the wealthiest Black family.
Let's talk about structural racism in the criminal justice system. At the outset, we've got to recognize that Blacks are stopped more often, arrested more often, prosecuted more often, convicted more often, sentenced more harshly. More often than not, is not only who you are, but what you are. Black that matters most.
On to employment. If you think of the fact that 1/3 of all jobs are filled through referrals, pretty obvious it's who you know that gets you the job, which means those on the inside get the inside track. Even in an open system, study after study, years after year shows that applications with white names get 36% more callbacks than applications with so-called Black names, even when the resumes and credentials are identical.
That is why Black lawyers matter. We need Black lawyers, not only in the criminal justice system. Black lives will never matter. We need Black lawyers in all aspects of the law, all aspects, corporate America to the criminal justice system. But the reality is far different. This is especially true in the legal field and in the corporate law firm. The numbers of Black lawyers in big firms is inexcusable. Famous Black entertainer Paul Robeson. Many of you might not know he was the first Black to work at the Wall Street law firm back in the 1930s. As a lawyer, he would be offended by these numbers today. 1.97% law firm partners are Black. 0.75% are Black women.
And there's been virtually no improvement over the years. You look at the numbers since the end of the recession of 2008, there has been virtually no improvement in the number of Black partners, the number of Black women partners in the law firm. And it's just not that much better at the lower levels of law firms. The percentage of Black associates and women Black associates continues to be horribly small. I'm not saying that there aren't many other groups discriminated against, many other groups that require help and diversity, but if you look at the numbers, the number of Black lawyers has stayed even or fallen flat, while other groups have increased. The number of partners at law firms from different groups has jumped up in many cases, and it has not jumped up nearly as much, typically reason at all, for Black law firm partners.
And once they get hired, things are not much better. While at the firm, many Black lawyers are treated unfairly. Superficial assignments, lack of access to decision makers, absence of mentoring, overall lack of respect. That's why even the most successful Black lawyers tend to leave. So, where do we go from here? We must take a stand. We must speak out. We must not be silent. As I watched the knee on George Floyd's neck, I was never more convinced. This was a moment for change. This history that we provide tells us anything. It is that decent people, decent Americans, never, ever, ever stop fighting for the realization of those self-evident truths God created.
We also must fight to expand the legal community. One step, increase the number of Black lawyers. This program is part of that change. We ask you to support the program, but everyone else, wherever they are, who is fighting to increase the number of Black lawyers.
And one thing you must always remember and never, ever, ever forget. Diversity. Invited to the party, inclusion, being asked to dance, equity, being allowed to meet.
So how do you invite people?
To be truly successful, you must have all.
So how do you invite people to the party? Well, first of all, start early. Law firms would help mentor diverse students in law school, hey, in college, maybe even high school. Help understand, and people understand, help expand imagination. Second, law firms must expand their recruitment, actively seek out and find talented students. Because at all times, when you decide who to invite to your party, remember that diversity is about finding excellence in overlooked places.
Here's what asking to dance means: mentorship, access, opportunity. Black lawyers must have all three: mentorship, access, and opportunity in order to succeed.
And what does equity really mean, being allowed to lead? Here's the test for you in every law firm. You start with this conviction. If you do not have Black lawyers in positions of power, you are by definition missing out on talent and excellence. Therefore, look around your big table, and if you don't have Black lawyers in positions of power, do something different. Change how you recruit, change how you train how you promote. And if it doesn't work the first time, it probably won't. Don't stop. Don't stop until you succeed.
What I tell all my students is, now is your time. We want your ideas, we want your comments, and we want your questions. Please go to the Q&A tab. Let us hear your thoughts.
Professors Higginbotham and Meyerson, thank you for that important history and cataloging of why Black lawyers matter. While we wait for questions from our audience, I want to pose a question to both of you. You did a good job of tracing the history of voter suppression and the involvement of Black lawyers. But why do you think Black lawyers matter today? How can we do it?
Well, this first step, it seems to me, is to recognize that you need multiple voices. One thing that's really important, we never would say all Black lawyers are the same. Guess what? Everyone has their own opinion. But the more different people with different experiences, the more you have more vision. So things like the redlining, someone is more likely to say, this is wrong, we shouldn't do it.
Black lawyers have always mattered, Emo, and they matter even more today. Black lawyers mattered when Linda Brown got to go to her neighborhood school. Black lawyers mattered when Dr. King delivered his I Have a Dream speech. And Black lawyers mattered when Walter McMillan and 125 other Black death row inmates in Alabama were exonerated. So when you start to think about what Black lawyers have done, what Black lawyers have stood up for, of course they matter today. And the reason why is because we haven't fixed the problem yet. We have not lived up to that promise of equality. And so Black lawyers are important in that fight. Of course, all lawyers who are committed to the principle of equality are important to that fight. But if you look at Black lawyers over the years, they've had a special dedication to that principle, starting, of course, with Thurgood Marshall, Baltimore's own. And everybody knows about Marshall. But the thing about our program and the thing about similar programs is they're training future Thurgood Marshalls. And if you look at what his impact was, the number of people that could be helped by major decisions, increasing justice and opportunity and equality in our society, it's a tremendous contribution. Bobby Kennedy talked about ripples of hope when he went to South Africa in the 1960s and saw what was happening under apartheid. And he talked about dropping a pebble, a small pebble in a lake, and the ripples of hope would make a difference. Black lawyers are those ripples of hope.
Professors Meyerson and Higginbotham, a question from the audience is asking you to discuss the partnership between the school and the HBCUs and why.
The why is the easiest one, because you go fishing where the fish are. We knew there was talent at the HBCUs, and we also knew, simply because of the B in HBCU, that was going to be underestimated. It was being underestimated. And we also knew that the HBCUs lacked funding. Not one of them had a LSAT course on campus. University of Maryland did, College Park did, UMBC did. And so these schools were both underfunded and filled with unfound talent. And so we felt this would be the place where we could find talent. And years later, we were right.
Professor Myerson's absolutely correct. It's all about leveling the playing field. The university system encourages partnerships between Maryland schools. This was an ideal partnership. And when we reached out, it was all about leveling the playing field. And that's why we provided the assistance over the years that we have. Once you level the playing field, as Professor Meyerson mentioned earlier, once you level the playing field, you see these students excel. And not only do they excel, they exceed expectations.
I think we probably have time for one more question. I posed it to Professor Meyerson and Professor Higginbotham. How can young Black lawyers make their presence known in a field that is majority white?
Well, I got to say something that's a little unexpected. First of all, be selfish and be excellent. Now, that's not going to be easy because there are going to be people rooting against you. But the first thing you do is live your life as if your dream matters to you. That means you put in the work because your dream is worth it. You get the help and support you can because your dream is worth it. And every single step you take up that ladder, and you do everything you can, you find out everything there is to know. You talk to all the people who preceded you, who've succeeded. You learn from their mistakes, and you succeed in everything you do. Be excellent, and then look behind you. Who needs a hand? Because that's the deal we make. You move forward, we help you move forward, find your support, then who can you support? And that's how you make a difference and live the life you were meant to live.
I agree 100% with Professor Meyerson. The question just reminds me of the story they used to tell during Jim Crow about the little Black boy on the playground, and he was getting teased by all the kids. That he said he wanted to be a lawyer, and they all laughed and said, Black folks can't be lawyers. And one day, a Black lawyer happened to be the speaker at the school, and the little boy came up to him afterwards, was crying, and the lawyer said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "Well, because I want to be a lawyer and I can't be one." He said, "Why not?" He said, "Because the kids all told me that there's a book out there and everybody's name who's going to be a lawyer is in it, and mine's not in it." And the little boy looked at him and said, "How did you become a lawyer?" And he said, "I wrote my name in the book." That's what this program is all about. Writing your name in the book, allowing these students, empowering these students to get the knowledge, the expertise, and the law license to be able to then write their names in the book, to make the contribution like Thurgood Marshall did to improving the society around them. Whether they make a whole lot of money or whether they do public interest law, to make things a little bit better for those around.
Yeah. Professors Myerson and Higginbotham, thank you. Very much appreciated. At this time, I want to take time to thank the people that aren't on the screen that made today happen. I want to thank our UB connections, Jared Schuster, Jason Keller, Juan Pablo Soto, and Christine Stutz. We could not have put on this production today without them, and we thank them very much. We want to give a special thanks to Sharon Wilkes. We couldn't have done it without you as well. And last, but certainly not least, to the Baltimore legal community, to firms just like mine. You supported us in the past. We are thankful for that support, and we hope you continue to support us and support the program. Thank you.
And Emo, we thank you 1,000 times over for all you do, all the support, all you bring to our program and to the legal community.
Yes,
for
indeed.
us to continue our work, continue our job, to not only continue doing what we do, but to expand, to meet new challenges, to expand, to meet new problems, we need your help. So let me explain how this program gets financed, because there's sometimes been some questions about it. We began with a very generous 5-year seed grant from Mr. Peter Angelos. We so appreciate that. We built on it, but those 5 years ended many years ago. Since then, we've been functioning on donations. By the way, the scholarships I talked about, those are not paid for by the program, but by the generosity of our law school. Also, no one you saw on this screen tonight gets paid for work in the program. We do it because we believe in what we are doing. So we are one of the very few charities where every single penny you donate goes to help the actual participants in the program. We depend on donations. So I am so pleased that I can announce that this has been our best fundraising year ever. I'd like to thank the benefactors who have truly stepped up. The Reginald F. Lewis Foundation and Ms. Beverly Cooper made a substantial multi-year pledge. In addition, Susan Oxhorn, Mark Gross, Nancy and Jeff Hallis made extraordinarily generous donations. Why did they do that? Because they believe in the value of diversity. They believe in the vital importance of increasing diversity in our legal system. And they don't just talk the talk. They back their beliefs up with sustained, concrete action. On behalf of myself, on the program, and the students you have helped today and in the future, I say thank you.
We've got a great Fannie Angelos program. We've got committed and dedicated leaders. We've got enthusiastic volunteers. We've got student participants with energy and with dreams. And we definitely need your support. If you don't know, if you're on the fence, if you are shaky in any way, we have some special and honored guests who we believe will convince you. Let's take a listen.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Charles Adams. I am the coordinator of the Fannie Angelos program for academic excellence here at Bowie State University. For over 10 years, UB Law School and historically Black colleges and universities in the state of Maryland have worked together to provide resources and tools to our students to ensure their success on the LSAT examination and in law school. The Fannie Angelos program is a game changer. It has made a profound impact on the lives of our students here at Bowie State University, as well as the other HBCUs in the state. It has allowed so many students to achieve their goal of going to law school and ultimately becoming a lawyer. this is the best return on investment that we can make. And in the lives of those students who seek the law as their way of changing this society. So thank you to the faculty and staff at UB for your tireless work, your passion, and your dedication to this cause. And thank each of you for your donation and your understanding that this program can change lives and is profoundly impactful. Please continue to grow. Please continue to support, because it does make a difference. Because we know that the law matters. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Hi, I'm Sunny Hostin. I am delighted to join you tonight at the 7th annual celebration of the Fannie Angelos program and its call to action to increase diversity in the legal profession. We are at a pivotal time in our nation's history where African Americans have once again pushed this country to be its better self, and committed lawyers have been at the center of every fight for equal rights in our nation's history. Who can forget the monumental efforts of Thurgood Marshall to make sure that America kept her promise to equality for all? Recognition that Black lives matter, voting rights matter, that we matter remain issues at the forefront of legal battles today. Dedicated lawyers will make sure that Americans hear these calls loud and clear. The Fannie Angelos program is helping to train committed social justice advocates and ensure that Justice Marshall's legacy continues. Join the Fannie Angelos program's call to action and support their efforts starting tonight. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Congressman Steny Hoyer, the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives. I want to extend my congratulations to all of you for helping to make the Fannie Angelos program for academic excellence a success over the past 7 years. I also want to thank Mike Meyerson and Mike Higginbotham for their vision and leadership in launching this scholars program and making it such a success. The Fannie Angelos program for academic excellence has played an important role in promoting diversity in the legal profession here in Maryland. Diversity enhances the legal profession, just as it enhances the work of the legislative branch, which is why I've been proud to help recruit and elect the most diverse House Democratic caucus in the history of our nation. I'm proud to have been a founding member of the bipartisan Congressional HBCU caucus, and I am committed to ensuring that Maryland's historically Black colleges and universities offer robust opportunities to students. I will continue to work with my colleagues in the Maryland Congressional Delegation to ensure that HBCUs in our state have the resources they need to support their students as they reach for the success that they want in their careers. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
It's for the F. Angelos program for academic excellence, book by Michael. And I understand that you guys are a partnership of Maryland's 4 HBCUs and University of Baltimore Law School. You guys have helped 100 plus students enter law school and won the ABA's 2017 Diversity Leadership Award. Forget money. Forget paying me anything. What I want to do is give those students a real shout out of what inspiration truly means to each individual. It's up to you now. Every step of your life, the challenge is, what will you do to get better? Not go get a job, but understanding how to become an owner of your own life. And when you become an owner of your own life, which means you become an example for our future. That's what we're living for. And that's why this program is so awesome and so unique, to give 100 plus students opportunities, right? In law school. And imagine what you can do with that. And imagine if you mentally lock in to every day, never being the same, but always looking for a better you. That's what we do. That's how we live. God bless each and every one of you. And congratulations for your next step in life.
So let me explain why Ray Lewis said, forget money. What he was saying was, forget about paying me. Ray Lewis makes a fortune charging corporations to give speeches, inspirational speeches, just like that. But he donated this. This was free. He wasn't going to charge us because he wanted to donate to make this program better, to inspire you to make this program better. He believes in the need for diversity in the legal profession, and he knows this is one way to make that happen. So now it's your turn. If you believe in diversity, ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Are you ready to come forward, both with giving money, hiring students, being involved? And for my students, are you willing to be as excellent as we know you can be? Everyone else, it's time to contribute.
After listening to those tributes, if you're not fired up, you need to get a hearing aid. Dr. Charles Adams spoke the truth. Sonny Hostin spoke the truth. Steny Hoyer spoke the truth. And Ray Lewis, Super Bowl MVP, spoke the truth. And the truth will not only set us all free, but it will help our students achieve the vision of Langston Hughes, the great poet. This dream today in battle with his back against the wall, to save the dream for one, it must be saved for all. Step up your game, get in the fight, and give to the Fannie Angelos program.
Go to the chat. You can see, hit the chat, find the link, and please give. Thank you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for helping. Good night, everyone.